Hey folks, welcome back. We've had quite a few new subscribers since last week, and I'm going to try and get a few more this week by pushing this video quite hard, because I think there's some information in this that people really need to know. So, for the new people, quick recap. My name's Nemed Phoenix, professional magician for nearly 20 years, and I feel I've stalled a little bit. In the middle of those 10 years I was looking after my nan, so I've never really learned the business side of magic. I just got all my work through other people. I don't even have a website. During those years, my practice sort of faded away. Love of magic has faded a bit because all I do is go out and gig. And I put on more than a few pounds and a few other medical problems. So I've decided to spend 1 year in hardcore mode with a huge list of goals, trying to sort my life out. All the information that I learn while I'm doing this about magic business, about magic practice, about losing weight, I pass on to you. So you get all this useful information. And in return, I get you watching so that I have to do this stuff, or I will look stupid. Not much from me this week, as I have a very long interview for you. But if you're a beginner, intermediate, or lazy professional magician that has not got your business set up yet, the information that Craig's about to give you about setting up the early stages of your social media and your business is absolutely invaluable. So I'm going to let him take the majority of the episode giving us all that information. Stick around at the end of the interview to hear all about the upgraded book review section of the channel and how that's going to be working going forward. Today, I want one thing from you down in the comments. We're in the early stages now. The channel is starting to take its form. We start with a little bit of catch up on the goals and an interview, a review of some kind. Tell me down the bottom what you want. This is your one chance to give me suggestions on the channel, what you want to see reviewed, what you might want included, what you might want changed. Let's get a discussion going about the channel down in the comments, and I can really fine-tune what we're going to put in there. Like, for example, I've had a couple of requests for a Q&A session like Craig does on his channel. I don't necessarily think there's much call for that. He's got that pretty covered on his channel, and I've been a magician for a long time. I know magic. I don't know magic business, but I know magic. I can do a Q&A section if that's what you really want. That's entirely up to you. Let me know in the comments. Any other ideas you've got, let me know in the comments. Keep the comments section busy and flowing, the likes ticking, so that I know that you're watching and I have to keep doing this stuff, no matter how tired and bored I get. Welcome to Practice, Session 1. The point of this section is very simple. Over the years, I have gotten out of the habit of practicing new and difficult magic just for its own sake, to entertain myself. Over there, I've got drawers full of tricks that I could learn in an afternoon, but they wouldn't teach me anything. They use sleights and methods that I already know. I want to get back into the habit, like in the early days, of grabbing a trick that I've never done before, learning it from scratch like an absolute newbie, feeling the pain and getting through it. The trick that I've selected is the ninja rings. I think I performed a very basic routine once about 19 years ago for about 2 days, and I've never touched them again since. I don't remember practically anything. For the next month, this is the only trick I'm going to be working on. I'm going to start today, go through all of the resources that I have from Shooter Gower, Matthew Garrett, Joshua Masado, Dan Fleshman and others. Learn the routines exactly as they are taught, like a beginner magician, really watching and listening carefully, catching every single nuance. Get the routines down before I go on to develop my own based on what I do and do not like. Let's start simply with what I can actually remember. 1, 2, 3, 4 rings. Take one ring and hold it like so. You can crash another directly through. With a tap, you get 2 and 2. Yeah. 3, 1. And the hard one where you toss it up like this, which I won't get. Ow! That bit me. 3 and 1, and then they come off. 1, 2, and 3. That is it. that is the starting point that I have. I'm going to go and watch Shootogawa's routine now, learn it, come back and show you what I've got so far. Right, I'm just back from session 1. I spent a few hours working on Shootogawa's Ninja Rings routine, the original routine. I've probably forgotten most of it already, I'll be honest. Whatever I'm going to demonstrate right now is going to have absolutely no grace or beauty to it. It's just going to be me seeing if I can get through the moves. The exciting, fun and slightly irritating part about this plan of mine is that because I'm learning these routines with absolutely no intention necessarily of ever performing them live to an audience, these are literally just for me to get used to practicing and enjoying it again. I have no excuse to skip any of the hard moves because they're not practical in the real world. Every move, including the desperately annoying spin move that opens this routine, I'm going to have to try and get down. I'm going to spend a week working on just this one routine and watching Joshua Masada's routine for next week. Next week I'll give that one a study and continue with this, and we'll keep going until the end of the month. We'll move on a little bit from your perspective, but I'm going to keep working on this afterwards. And hopefully within a month, or within tonight to be honest, the fun of practicing will be fully back inside me again. Let's see what, if anything, I can remember about this routine. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rings. I'll take one, place it on the table and give it a bit of a spin. Hopefully I can... Did I mention I really love this first move? 3 attempts and then we'll give up. 1, 2. Got it. It's too exciting when I get it at the moment. It's really not great if you do the move and they go, oh my God, I got it. Take these 2, give them a tap. You get 2 and 2. I'm telling you now, I'm learning this routine exactly as it is for practice purposes, but when it comes to changing it later for my own handling, this arthritic rocker position that Shootogawa says is easier than holding it like this is going to go. But for now, exactly as taught, right here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You see that? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. 3 and 1. 2 and 2. 1 and 1. With practice, you're going to be able to do this silently, like so. Second annoyingly hard move of the routine, the one-handed toss. Anyone that does this out there and is watching this in pain, suffering me watching this, suffering me practicing this, Shoot has this ring facing to my right, left. Everyone else seems to have it this way. Which works for you? Theory. Yes! I'll try that one. Again, less excitement. And 3, 1, 2, 2, and 1, and 1 in slow motion. As I said, absolutely no grace or beauty to that whatsoever. The routine goes on to do a pretty much identical routine again, but with a spectator holding it. And then there's a final few phases, but I don't quite get one of the moves yet. I'm not quite sure what's happening there. So I'm going to leave that one for now. That's literally day 1, couple of hours. Desperately trying to get something to put on video. Now, I'll see what happens in a week with real practice. As you'll see in the next clip, everything went so much smoother than that during the earlier practice sessions that you didn't see. I got all those moves down just like that, no problem. It was a smooth, calming experience, but fun. Oh. Hi folks, it's been a pretty busy week this week. I've had lots of gigs, been filming a lot with Craig Petty, doing some projects for him, doing some videography work. And I was struggling at the last moment to think of someone to interview this week. And then I thought, hang on, Craig Petty. And I summoned him in the usual fashion. I opened an envelope and he turned up 10 minutes later with 14 routines using a stamp. And now we've got him here ready to interview.
Hello,
Craig, how are you
Nem.
doing this morning?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. I've got you on next more seriously because, as you know, the channel is about leveling up, and part of that is my marketing and business strategy. And I don't have the marketing and business strategy. My marketing and business strategy is to do your gigs. So before I can actually learn how to do Facebook and websites and stuff like that properly, I need to actually know what I need to know. I literally need a list of the things that I don't know so that I can go and know them. And you're the man for marketing, so we called you.
Okay, so this is a big subject, and this could be multiple hours in terms of videos, but I'm going to try and condense it down and make it as short as possible.
I have
Uh,
actually set up an electrocution system on your desk to try and speed this up and cut out the usual Magic TV waffle. So go
you're
for it.
right. I'm going to be as succinct as I can. First of all, you need to remember that marketing is the single most important part of a business. And you are running a business. You are not Nemid Phoenix, magician. You are running a business. The business is you. The brand is you. You're running a business. The marketing is the most important part of a business because without marketing, there's no leads. Without leads, there's no sales. Without sales, there's no gigs. Without gigs, there's no money. If there's no money, you're basically a hobbyist. So the single most important thing is the marketing, right? And you could spend, like, you could go down a rabbit warren in terms of what to do and what not to do. The most important thing, really, initially, is that you have to understand that people need to find you. Because in the old days, when I first got into magic, it was all about the Yellow Pages. The easy way to get gigs was to just pay Yellow Pages a ton of money, make sure your business name began with an A, and then you'd be first on Yellow Pages and you get all of the gigs. That coupled with word of mouth was enough. That's not the case now. We're living in a digital age. Everything is done online. And it's really important that from a marketing point of view, you compare favorably to anybody else that anyone else is searching for. Let me explain what I mean there. Um, if you are a magician and you've got a website, and obviously a website's important, we'll get to that in a minute. But if you've got a website, let's forward 2 years into the future or a year into the future. You finish magician level up. You're built like a brick shit house. You look sexy as hell. Everything's going great. And you've got a wonderful website with photos and videos on. If somebody's searching for, say, a magician for a corporate event, and 5 websites come up for 5 different magicians, and they're all really, really good, but one website doesn't have a social media presence, for example, or doesn't have reviews, or doesn't have any online presence outside of that website, you're going to be discounted immediately. These days, more than ever, people are able to search for multiple options, and they do. You ask anyone, they do. Like a perfect example. I've heard you say it. When a magic trick comes out, you don't just rush and buy the trick. If it's
Mm.
something that you're interested in, you'll go check out online reviewers. You'll look at YouTube review shows. You'll go and look at the Magic Cafe. You'll go and look at Facebook groups. You'll look for people that are giving an opinion, and then you'll decide whether to buy it or not. It's the same with hiring a magician. The days of just sticking an advert up are gone. You have to put a bit more work into it, which is why any kind of old school entertainers that are struggling for work at the moment, it's because they're still living in the 1980s, the 1990s. So it's really important to have an online presence. You call it kind of like a digital footprint. To give you one more analogy, imagine that you're walking down a high street and you open the best shop in the world, like it's an absolutely amazing shop and the best prices, the best stuff is in there. Everybody would buy it if they found out about it. But if the shop was looking from the outside like it's derelict, you can't see what's inside the shop, there's no signage, it looks kind of boarded up, no one's going to go in there. The way to get people to go into that shop are to have big neon signs pointing to it, going, best shop in the world. That's why so many shops spend so much money on window displays to make it look really enticing so that people walk in. So we need to do the same thing with your brand. We need to do the same thing. You need to be visible. Basically, that's what marketing is. It's making it visible. So there's a few steps that we can go through. And you would think the first step is to have a website. If you need a digital footprint, if you need to be visible, because you're not, Nem. If
I'm really
somebody's
not.
searching for Nemid Phoenix, they're going to find videos of me interviewing you on Magic TV. They're not going to find you at all. So it's really important to have a digital footprint. Now, you'd probably think, oh, well, okay, so the first thing is the website. It's not. The first thing is to source on your social media. And I'm not talking about magician levels up. I'm not talking about the YouTube channel that we are now looking at that you've created or any Instagram or Facebook that is associated to magician levels up. We need to think about you as Nemid Phoenix Magic. Now, to be clear, there are people out there that are going to say, you don't need a website. All you need is social media. You can get everything that you want from social media. That is also rubbish. It's complete trash. Social media is very important. I'll tell you why in a minute. But if you want to get gigs, you want to get as many income streams as possible. You want to have gigs coming from as many different areas as possible. Social
Sure.
media is one such place that gigs can potentially come from. But the biggest reason for social media is to give you social proof. If somebody looked on your social media at the moment, let's say they looked at your Instagram, when's the last time you even posted?
Uh, Quite a while, and nothing to
Quite
do
a
with
lot.
me.
Exactly. So the important thing, right, is that before we even start thinking about anything, you're going to start posting on social media. You're going to start posting on Instagram. You're going to start posting on Facebook. The reason is, after that, you're going to be building up a website. You're going to be working on SEO. We'll talk about all of that. But when that's all done and you've built that website, people won't just look at the website. They'll also check you out online. And one of the ways to do that is looking at your social media. They'll look at your Instagram. They'll look at your Facebook. And if you don't start using Facebook and Instagram properly until you've set that website up, you're going to have an amazing website, but it's like you don't exist on social media, which is ridiculous. You
Makes
won't
sense.
stand up against other people. So the best time to start posting actively on social media was a year ago. The next best time to do it is right now. And to do that, you're going to need a social media planner. You're going to need a social media calendar because you don't want to be a busy fool. There are so many magicians that become busy fools. They spend all of their day working and they think they're working hard, but in reality, they're achieving nothing. The way to make sure that you achieve something is to be organized about this. But before any of that, Nem, you need to work out what your customer avatar is. Now, I know we've spoken about customer avatars privately in the past, and I know you know what a customer avatar is, but for anybody that's watching it that doesn't understand, it basically means what your ideal customer is. Who is your ideal customer? And I know people, maybe you, Nem, are going to think, well, everybody is I just want people to book me. I don't care who. But it doesn't work like that. The reason it doesn't work like that is because unless you've got, like, you look at Slightly Unusual's website, it looks like we're marketing to everybody. We've got corporates, we've got weddings, we've got private parties, but that's because we've positioned ourselves as an entertainment agency, right? So people come to us and they know we provide lots of different types of entertainment. But if you're looking at a magician's website, You want to try and niche down as much as possible. I'll give you a couple of examples. Thomas Maloney. If you look at Thomas Maloney's website, you'll see he's niched down to the family wedding magician. Everything is themed to weddings, is videos of him performing to families. He's gone for that kind of family wedding magician vibe. And that's really working for him. All of his inquiries are for people wanting a magician at a wedding that have got lots of kids coming. That's a great niche. Because the thing is, right, if you had loads of videos of you and loads of photos of you performing at private parties, house parties, in people's back gardens, for example, weddings, and then you've got a corporate event planner that's wanting a magician, like the gig that we did a couple of days ago. There's like 300 people in the room. They're all business professionals. Somebody organized that event and they want that event to go brilliantly. So they need the perfect entertainment, right? Um, if they're trying to organize the perfect entertainment and they're looking around at websites and there's a website that goes, I do corporate events, but I also do weddings. I also do private parties. And worst case, I also do kids' parties. You see people that have got that on their website. If you have all of these things, that corporate event planner is going to go, jack of all trades, master of none. I'd rather have somebody that specializes in corporates because their job's on the line. Normally, they're somebody that's been tasked to, like that gig that we did a couple of days ago where we supplied 4 magicians and you were one of them.
Mm.
I had like 3 Zoom calls with that person, convincing them that they should book us. It's a big deal getting the right type of entertainment. And if they see something on your website or something on your social media that makes them go, he's not for me, they'll dismiss it immediately. So get the customer avatar in your head. Figure out what your niche is. Figure out what type of gig you want to go after. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do other gigs. You can, but front facing, you want to kind of focus on one particular area, if that kind of makes sense, right? So you've got your customer avatar in place. The next step, as of today, is start posting on Nemid Phoenix's social media. Now, the social media you post on is very much based on your customer avatar, which is why I tell you to sort your customer avatar out. So, for example, if you are after corporates and business professionals, Facebook and LinkedIn is a good place to hang out, LinkedIn especially. But if you're after like weddings, LinkedIn could work, but it's a waste of time. I see a lot of people that post on every single platform and they spend hours every single day posting every single platform. And that's what I mean about being a busy fool. So you want to figure out what the best social media is for for the customer avatar you're going for. So for a kids entertainer, like you look at my kids entertainment company, we know that most of our clients hang out on Facebook and Instagram because we know our customer avatar is moms, dads just don't book kids' parties with a specific household income. They've got kids, obviously. And moms tend to hang out on Facebook a lot of the time or Instagram. And so we put a lot of mom related content. We put content on that appeals to moms because then moms will like it and share it. Their mom friends will see it. They'll like the page. And then that's how, we generate potentially inquiries through Facebook, right? So you figure out what your customer avatar is, and you start posting on social media, and don't post on social media trying to actually get a gig. That's not what you're trying to do right now. What you're doing is you're creating social proof. You're making yourself look like a busy performer. Now, I know for a lot of magicians, sitting in front of a camera and filming something can be an absolute nightmare. And I've had people say to me, I want to post on social media, I want to post on Instagram, but I don't because I did this video and it made me look rubbish. And here's the thing. It's better having a video there that kind of isn't 100% where you want it to be than not having any video. If your social media is completely a wasteland, I'm going to repeat this, nobody is going to book you. So you don't have to go and put on social media like you don't have to put like I'm not talking about long form content here. I'm not talking about the sort of thing that you're filming now. I'm not talking the sort of thing that I put on Magic TV. Most of the content I'm talking about is short form content. Like shorts on YouTube. Reels on Instagram, reels on Facebook, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What you want to do is you want to create a social media calendar and you want to stick to it. So, for example, it might be on a Monday, you're posting a picture that's got something to do with a gig. So it might be, and it can just be a selfie. It could just be you at a selfie at a gig going, hey, just arrived at blah, blah, blah. Can't wait to perform here. It's very easy to take a selfie when you get to a gig, take a selfie and put it up on Instagram. It can be done straight away. It could be you with sitting in a coffee shop with a hot chocolate and a pack of cards and it's like, hey, I'm practicing new material today. It could be something like that. It could be absolutely anything. It doesn't have to be, because what you're doing is you're making yourself relatable. The big advantage that you've got over Slightly Unusual is that Slightly Unusual is this big entity. I
Mm.
can't market Slightly Unusual as me, because then everybody would want to book me, and that's not possible, right? So we have to kind of put very generic content out, but you can put content out that's about you. If people get to know you and like you, then they're going to book you. It's as simple as that. And you're a very funny guy. So put stuff, I would be putting stuff up there like you've taken a picture of something and you've got a kind of a sarcastic comment about it. Something like
Me?
that. Yes, you, like stuff like that. But then put a video of you. It could be a video of you just practicing with your hands. It's not a show reel. You're not putting a show reel up there.
Mm.
You're putting stuff so that and the only purpose for this is so that when people check your content, when people find your website and then they click on Instagram to see who you are and what you do, they're seeing that you're posting regularly. If you're looking for a magician and the last time they posted was 6 months ago and they put a post on there going, back on social media, I'm going to post regularly now, which I see all of the time. And I said, even worse, I was on a magician's website the other day. I actually showed the self. You know who I'm talking about. We're at a gig and I showed you the selfie and I went, that's terrifying. Um, that picture was posted 4 days ago. Hey, excited to be performing here. And then 6 months before, that was the last time that they posted on social media, which ironically was another selfie. So anybody going onto their social media, it's like, well, he's not done a gig in 6 months.
Mm.
It can be a picture of a TARDIS. Get people to know who you like. Doctor Who, you like Star Trek, you like stuff like this. Put that on your social media. Be personable. Show people. Just stick away from religion and politics, and you'll be absolutely fine. But and create that social media calendar. So on a Monday I'm going to do this. On a Wednesday I'm going to do this. On a Friday I'm going to do this, and get into the habit. Thomas's is again. I referenced Thomas because I went through this whole process with Thomas, and his social media is worth looking at, especially Instagram. I would say for you, unless you're going in a direction that I'm unaware of, I think that you would be best with Instagram and Facebook. And I think you could make some very funny reels. You can fake a few. Let's say you're going to a kids gig, and but it's in a nice area. You could take a picture of the venue. You can go, can't wait to perform here today. People don't know it's a kids gig,
Or a lie.
exactly, or like, but so step one, I'm not going to dwell on this anymore. If you want to talk more about social media and evergreen content, get me back on in a few months. But the first thing that you should do when you've worked out your customer avatar is start posting on social media now, because I guarantee you, you will regret it. If you get to the point where you've got your website set up and you've not been posting regularly on social media, you literally will regret it, because now you're still not going to get gigs, but you've spent money on a website and you're not going to get gigs because you haven't got the social proof to back it up. You need the social proof to back it up, right? Okay, so boom, done, social media. Next, you need to educate yourself about websites. You need to get a website. It's really important. I said earlier on, some people will say you don't need a website, you just need social media. That's bullshit, mate. You really do need a website, because as long as you continue to pay for the domain and as long as you continue to pay for the hosting fees, that website is yours forever.
Mm.
Social media is not yours. They could put you in jail for a week. They could ban you from Facebook. And if you think that Facebook's going to be around forever, I've got two words for you: MySpace. 10 years ago, everyone thought MySpace was going to be here forever. You never know what's going to change in the future. But a website will always be yours, and you can always update it as many times as you want to. And that's the key. There's two options when it comes to getting a website. The first is you could find somebody who will build it for you. Now, that's the very first thing I did. When I set up the Slightly Unusual website, I found someone to build it for me, and it looked very, very nice. But then he charged me every single time I wanted to update it. And the key thing with the website now is you want to update it regularly. Do you know why?
SEO, I'm assuming.
Well, kind of. Basically, you have to understand that the end goal for you or any business is to appear on page one of Google.
Mm.
If you're on page one of Google, ideally, if you're in the top spot, people are going to inquire with you. If you're on page two, three, forget about it. So you need to be right near the top. That's the end goal. Now, Google's customer, look, nobody bings. When your company name becomes the thing that everyone does, most people are going to Google it, right?
Yeah.
So it's really important that you play to Google's strengths. Now, Google's customers are people that search on Google. Why does everybody use Google over Bing or any other search engine? They use Google because they know that the research results from Google are going to be accurate, right? If you search for XYZ, you're going to get search results that are going to give you specific information as to what you searched for, right?
Right.
If Google started throwing things back at you that were completely unrelated to what you were searching for, you'd start looking for other options, right? So Google, it's very, very important that when they show a website as part of the search results, they are 100% confident that that's the information that they need. So what the SEO, and we're kind of fast forwarding here, but SEO, that stands for search engine optimization. And basically what search engine optimization is it's the process that you go through to get your website ranked on page one of Google. That's basically what you're doing with SEO, right? And there's many, many ways of doing this, many, many ways. And it's a rabbit warren, and we'll talk about that in a second. But one of the most important things for you to understand is Google are going to want to show websites that are relevant, not just relevant, but websites that look like they have a bit of effort behind them. So, for example, and I'm generalizing here, but for example, if you had a website that gave the perfect search results for a particular subject, but that website had not been updated in 5 years' time, it
Mm.
hadn't been touched for 5 years, which Google can tell in nanoseconds, they're probably not going to index it because they're probably thinking in the last 5 years, something probably has changed and this website's not been changed in 5 years. So even though it appears accurate, we're going to show this search result anyway. I'm generalizing, we get the idea.
Mm. Yeah.
So one of the important things when it comes to SEO is updating the website regularly, which is why blogging is so important. Um, Writing a blog is very important. The reason writing a blog is important is because it does two things. First, it shows Google that you're updating your website regularly. And second of all, you can write blogs about things that you want Google to think that you're an expert in. So if you're targeting wedding entertainment, for example, and you write a blog on the ultimate guide for wedding entertainment, and then the next blog is what's the best time to have a magician at a wedding, and the next one is what's the best type of entertainment to have at a wedding, and the next one's what's the best way to get into the bridesmaid's pants at a wedding. When you start writing blogs like this, what's
Mhm.
going to happen is Google is going to go, okay, right, this company obviously knows about weddings because it's regularly updated. And then what you can do is you can take search terms and search phrases, and that's done through research. You research what people are searching for because what you think they're searching for might not be what they're searching for. So you find out what people are searching for to find your business, and then you write blogs with those search terms and search phrases in. That's one of many ways that you can improve your SEO, right? But
Yeah.
in order to do that, Nem, you have to constantly be updating your website.
Mm.
Now, if you don't constantly, now, if you have somebody else build the website for you, you have one of two scenarios going on here. Scenario number one, you have to pay them every single time you want it updated. Option number two, they do it for free, but you're at their beck and call as to when it gets done,
Mm.
right? So neither is a great option. So when it comes to websites, I'm subscribed to the theory of if you give a man a fish, he'll eat once. If you teach a man to fish, he'll eat forever, right? It's the same sort of thing with a website. There is no the good news is, Nem, this
Mm.
is not going to cost you money. It's not going to cost you anything. The bad news is it's going to cost you time because I would suggest that you learn how to develop a website because then you are in control of it. Now, there's lots of different website design platforms. We've used a couple of them over the years. Some are more complicated for others. The one that I suggest that you use is Wix. Wix, you don't have to learn to code. You don't have to learn, and the slightly unusual website is Wix, for example. Now, some people will say to you, Wix isn't very good when it comes to an SEO point of view. I will counter that with slightly unusual is a Wix website, and it appears number one on pretty much most search terms. Ask anyone that's searching for magicians, so it can't be that freaking bad, can it? But there's a lot of first of all, here's the advantage of Wix from your point of view. You can set up a free account in Wix and you can design a website in Wix without costing a penny. You can design that whole website. Their help system is brilliant. They have videos on everything. So as you're doing every little aspect, you can go, I don't know how to do this, watch a video, and it'll tell you exactly what to do. And I know that you taught yourself video editing in lockdown, and now you're an incredible video editor. So I know you'll be able to do this fairly easy. And also, the other thing is, it's very much drag and drop Wix. It's like, right, okay, I'm going to take this thing, I'm going to put it there, then I'm going to put this image here, then I'm going to embed this video here. And you can get more complicated, but you keep it really simple, right? So teach yourself how to build a website. Will it take a little longer? Yes. But ultimately, is it the best way? Yeah, because we had somebody build our first website, and then we realized very quickly we're going to have to learn ourselves. And then we took that website offline, and then we built our own website, right? So learn how to build a website. And as I say, you're not going to have to pay for anything until you're ready to publish that website. And then when you're ready to publish that website, that's when you pay. But I'd get the domain name now. You can have the domain name without having it attached to the website. Domain names can go very, very quickly. And I know that you had a domain name and then you lost the domain name because whatever. Get yourself a good domain name. And make that don't do anything cheesy like magician in Birmingham or whatever. Just make it about yourself. Your brand is you. You are your business. Get a domain name, get that now. Keep it in your pockets and nobody else can get it. Then once you've got the domain name, start going on Wix and start learning how to build a website. The best time to do that is right now. So step one, customer avatar, figure out what you're niching down to. Step two, set up all your social media. And oh, well, actually, step two, get yourself um, um, logos and stuff for your business. Now, I know you've already got logos, so if you're happy with that, that's great. If you're not happy with it, change it. But you want to get that in place right now, because then when you set up your social media and you make sure your social media is up and running, everything can be branded across platform. So when you look at your Instagram account, it looks very, very similar to your Facebook account. You want to have everything branded. It's like walking into McDonald's. Every McDonald's around the world is exactly the same. People know what they're going to be getting. You want to have a kind of a similar sort of brand on Facebook as you do on Instagram, right? So step one, customer avatar. Step two, make sure your logos and your color choices are fine. Step three, start your social media and do not stop. Do not stop. Do not stop. Just keep going. Keep posting. Even when you don't want to, keep posting. If you want to at some point in the future, we'll talk about scheduling. We'll talk about evergreen content. We'll talk about Meet Edgar, and we'll talk about bundling and stuff like that. But that's not the time right now. Just start posting on social media. Next step is learn how to build a website. Don't get somebody else to do it. Do it yourself. You're not going to have to pay anything. Spend a couple of hours every single day and you'll be fine. Because what we're doing right now is we're setting the foundations, right? We're laying the foundations for your business. And what I mean by that, I'll never forget a few years ago, many years ago, it's before Rylan was born, like about 15 years ago, I used to live in a place called Little Bloxwich. And I'd go from Warsaw, me and Sarah would go from Warsaw to Little Bloxwich, and we'd pass this part of the, on the side of the road, it was this pub, and it got closed down, and then it got knocked down. And it stayed knocked down for ages. There was nothing there, and but they were doing stuff. There was like builders and stuff, but nothing was there. They were just doing stuff with the floor. And then we went on holiday for a week, and when we came back, an entire freaking McDonald's was there. And I spoke to the builders. I was really interested, and they told me that it's kind of this particular McDonald's, and a lot of them are almost like flat pack. It's kind of like IKEA. So they spent ages working on the foundation and getting the foundation right, and then actually getting the building up. They did in like a couple of days, right? It's the same with your business. What you're doing now is you're laying the foundations. This is an irritating, frustrating time because you're doing all of this work and you're not seeing anything come back. But what you're doing is you're putting things in place so that when you turn the engine, the thing will start, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So you learn to build your website, you build a website, and keep the website. I'm not going to talk to you about websites. I'm sure you'll have a website expert come on here and chat to you, but keep it really simple. Don't have multiple pages on absolutely everything. Keep it really, really simple. When you have your website, the most important thing is above the fold. You know what I mean by above the fold?
What you can see straight away.
Yeah, boom, exactly. What you can see straight away. Most people will log off a website in like 3 seconds. You
Mm.
click. Have you ever done that? You ever clicked on a website and you go, "Nope, this is not what I'm looking for," and you click off straight away.
Yeah.
Uh, so you want to have a website that has a really strong hero image right there. When they click on it, they see. And you also want to have specific pages, and eventually you're going to have links through to those specific pages. The other thing is have a picture of you, absolutely, but the focus should be on the people that you're performing for, the reaction shots. It's not about you, it's about what you can do to the customer or what you can do for the customer. And the images and the videos that you put up are all based on that. Right. Okay. So you've got your website in place. The other thing that I would do is I would make sure that you have in place a CRM. You know what CRM is?
I do not.
Customer or client relationship manager. Have you ever heard me talk about Infusionsoft? And you've seen me when you've come into the office sitting in front of a computer with what looks like matrix stuff on it, and I'm just like banging my head against the screen.
But every time you say the word Infusionsoft, my brain shuts off.
Yeah, well, it's that's a very advanced CRM. You don't need an advanced one. What a CRM basically does is it keeps track of all of your customers. Now, at the moment, you've got no customers, so it's absolutely fine. Well, you have. You've got one customer, it's me. But you keep track of all of your customers on this CRM, and then it allows you to create automated responses to people. So, for example, if somebody fills in a contact form on your website and says, "I want a magician for my wedding," if you're away or you're busy or you're at a gig or you can't deal with that, it's really frustrating. And this happened to me a lot in the old days. It's really frustrating if you get an inquiry and then you email them back or you phone them back, you missed it and you were in a gig. So you get back to them the next day. And then by the time you get back to them, they go, "Oh, I've booked somebody else." And you just go, "Damn, that could have been me if I was just a little bit quicker." So what CRM is going to do is it's going to email people immediately. You can set up automation that's going to email people immediately as soon as they get, or you set a timer for like 30 minutes. So they fill in the contact form and you set a timer for like 30 minutes and you send an email back to them going, "Hey, thanks very much for inquiring." And, sales copy is an entire other thing that you need to learn. But for now, the important thing is that you have that CRM in place. And again, you don't need it right now. You don't need it until you start getting inquiries. But by the time you start getting inquiries, it will be too late at that point. So this is what I mean about laying the foundation. The best one I would suggest for you, which again you can set up for free and you can learn to use it for free, and it integrates with Wix perfectly, is MailChimp. You must have heard of MailChimp. And MailChimp is great. Even some big, right, Penguin Magic use MailChimp, for example. It's a great, and it scales as you scale. So you get a free account at the beginning, and then as you scale your business or as you get more gigs or whatever, it will grow with you. But it allows you to do basic automation, which is all you need. Most importantly, it allows you to have all the customer details in there, so you can go into your MailChimp account and you can search for this person and it'll bring up all of their details. It'll keep you really organized, which I think is important for you, because I've known you long enough to know that you hate paperwork, you hate admin, you hate organization. This is almost like having somebody that will do a lot of that for you. So that's kind of a really important thing for you to think of. The next thing that I want you to do after you've set up your website, have you heard of Google My Business?
No.
Okay. So Google My Business. Have you ever like searched for a magic or a magician or something, or search for, if you search for Alakazam, for example,
Mm.
Alakazam magic, it'll come up on the screen with, let me do it now so you can see Alakazam Magic Kent. Boom. Do you see this thing at the top? You've probably seen a lot of those where it's
Yeah.
kind of got this and then it's got like pictures of the shop and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is your Google My Business listing. That is the single most important thing for you to do, and it's free, but you can't do it until you've got a website. Well, you can, but it's pointless. Your Google My Business listing, it's the thing that a lot of people forget to do. It is vital. It's your own listing on Google. So, and you can optimize that in any way that you want to, with reviews and with products and with services and with photos and a whole bunch of stuff. But if you search Nemid Phoenix Magic, if you've got a Google My Business listing, that's the first thing that will come up. right? Now, here's the process that you go through once you've got your website. It's very, very simple. Just Google my business listing, and I can't remember the exact link. It'll come up with the link, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to ask you some information. It's going to ask you what your business is, what it does, what your opening hours are, that sort of stuff. And it's going to ask you to upload some photos, upload a logo, a bunch of stuff, right? So it's going to stick a lot. You're going to spend about half an hour doing this. Once you've hit submit, it's then going to say, right, okay, wait to get an envelope, because you need to put your address in there, all right? Because that will help them. If people are searching, like you live in Wednesbury, if people are searching magician in Wednesbury, by having your address, they'll show you first once you've optimized that Google My Business listing. So but they want to confirm that you live in Wednesbury, because what some people will do, if they want to be known as a magician in London and they live in Manchester, they'll create a fake office in London to show up. They want to make sure that's not the case. So they're going to send you a letter from Google, and that letter is going to have a code in there. And then you go back into your Google, your business, you'll have a login at this point. You'll go back in, you'll put the code in, and that will make that Google My Business listing live. That is vitally important. That is step one when it comes to SEO. Okay. Because then you've got a website, you've got active social media, and you've got a Google My Business listing. Once you've got all that, that's amazing. That means that you've got an online presence. And it means that people, if they check out your social media, will see you. And then once that's all in place, you can then start working on generating traffic to your website. And this is kind of where SEO comes in, right? And the important thing, and this is vital, the important thing is that you have to understand that marketing is a little like a funnel. Imagine you've got I'll put it in terms that you can understand. Think about David Roth's funnel routine. You've got a bottle and you've got a funnel going into the bottle, right? What marketing effectively is you drop all of the leads. Leads are like inquiries, right? People that are showing interest in what you do. All of the leads get dropped into the top of the funnel. Now, what will happen is as the leads go down into the bottle, they're going to drop away. You're too expensive. You're already booked, whatever the case may be. They've found another magician, whatever. And then, but you drop these leads into the funnel, and then the stuff that drops into the bottle, those are the actual bookings. Those are the people that you've converted from a lead into a booking, right? It is important to have as many leads go into that funnel as possible, because the more leads that you have, the more inquiries that get dropped into the funnel, the more chance that you have of more bookings. That obviously is very much dependent on your conversion rate. The conversion rate is how many people that inquire then end up booking you. And that can vary very much depending, and you constantly monitor, like at the moment you're monitoring your YouTube statistics because it's something that's important to you, because you want this channel to do well.
Sure.
When you set up your website, you're going to be monitoring statistics like how many people go onto your website, how long they stay on your website, how many of those people then go to inquire, and so on and so forth. You want as many leads as possible, fact. And in order to get lots of leads, you have to have lots of lead generation places. You have lots of places that could possibly generate leads. So Facebook could generate leads eventually. Instagram could generate leads. And then people filling a contact form could generate leads. There's tons of them. There's loads. We could spend an entire session just talking about different ways of generating leads, but you want to have as many as possible. And from an SEO point of view, get me back on in the future and we'll really go in depth about SEO. That's kind of down the line. But what I would say is, we're talking about laying the foundations. I would suggest one of the best ways to really be successful with your SEO is content marketing. I use a content marketing strategy. Now, one of those ways of using content marketing is by having blogs. Okay. Now, you don't want to go nuts. A blog a week or a blog 2 weeks is absolutely fine. But you want to take that blog every 2 weeks and upload it onto your website, right? And you want to have it based on search terms and search phrases that you know people are searching for based on your niche. So, what you don't want to do is have to write blogs every 2 weeks. So, suffice to say, your website's not ready to launch yet. So, what I would do is I would start writing blogs now. I would create a folder on your computer, and they don't have to be essays. I went through this with somebody a little while ago, and he wrote a blog that was like 10,000 words long. No one's going to read the blog now, but the purpose of the blog is to push people through to your website. It's not about people reading it. It's about showing you and anyone that's watching that you are an expert in your chosen field. So set yourself up for success now. Start writing those blogs now, and just put them somewhere safe so that then you can use them. And then the other thing you do, have you ever heard of Gary Vaynerchuk?
No.
Okay. So he's basically an expert when it comes to this sort of stuff. He knows way more than me. But one thing that Gary V says is he says that one of the most important things to do is to repurpose content. So you can repurpose content very, very easily. So let me give you an example with a blog. Okay. So if you write a blog, here's what most people do when they write a blog. They put it on the website, done. That's all they do. And it's not going to do much good. Okay. So what you want to do is, first of all, write a blog that's evergreen. Do you know what I mean by evergreen?
Well, in plant terms, yes, last forever.
So yeah, it lasts forever. That's basically it. So for example, if you wrote a blog saying, I'm going to be performing at this restaurant next week, that is not evergreen content. You can't share that ever again. But if you write a blog about why Nemid Phoenix is the sexiest magician alive, that is always going to be a blog that you can share. So
I mean, it's not information that anyone needs to know. It's standard knowledge, but
it's standard. It is standard knowledge. So you need to create evergreen blogs, and then when you publish a blog, you can repurpose that content. So, step one, what you can do is you can take that blog, and you can take sections out of that blog, and you can use them on your Facebook business page. So you can take little snippets on the blog, and you can put it on your Facebook business page. With a link through to the blog. You can share the whole blog on your Facebook business page. If you've got LinkedIn, you can take the blog, you can share it on LinkedIn. Then you can take the blog and you can create images. And you can take those images and you can put those images with like maybe just a sentence out of the blog. This can all be done from AI if you want it to be. But you can take images and create a sentence out of the blog, and you can put that over the image, and you can post that on Instagram, and with a link in your main title through to your website. Then, as well as that, you can reshare the blog every couple of weeks. Generally, when you share something on social media, like 0.5% of people are going to see it. So don't be afraid to reshare this again and again and again, because new people will be seeing it every single time. But then you can take that blog and you can turn it into a vlog. So once you've done the blog, you can have a blog 1 week, and then the next week you can have a vlog that's based on the blog that you put. So you embed into your website. You have a blog page that just says, hey, this week I'm talking about this. Here's a link to my vlog. You put the vlog on YouTube, a bit like you're doing with Magician Levels Up, but you're talking about, and you're literally using the blog that you wrote as a script. So you've got like that off to the side of the screen, and you're literally reading this script, and that becomes a vlog. Then you upload the vlog. Now you can share the vlog onto Facebook. You can share the vlog onto Instagram. You can share the vlog onto LinkedIn. If you've got Twitter, you can take the original blog and you can put loads of X now, whatever it is. You can put loads of different snippets of the blog onto X. But now there's an AI program that Michael uses. I can get it for you if you want me to. But what it does is it analyzes a long form video and it creates short form content and makes it so it's vertical instead of horizontal, which is what you want for short form content. So you can take that blog and that vlog and you can put it in through this system, and you can create 5 or 6 short form pieces of content that you can share as a reel on Facebook, and you can share as a reel on Instagram. If you want to, you can put it on, I don't know, TikTok. You can put it as a shorts on YouTube, linking back through to the main YouTube video. And now you've got all of these pieces of content that have been generated from one thing that you put on your website, and you've got hundreds of things going out. People say to me on Magic TV, how am I everywhere? Well, a lot of the content is repurposed. If you look at the shorts are based on the performances that I do on a Magic Live. The Magic Lives are taken from different videos that we've done that are longer form content. The way that I can do all of those videos, oh my God, how does Craig do 27 videos a week? I just repurpose the content. And it's the same with SU and NSK. We're just constantly repurposing the content. So you need to get that into your mindset because that's how you're going to generate. Then, when it comes to SEO, link building strategies, that's really important. Getting people to link back to you, having as many links back to your website as possible. But when you're doing that, and we'll talk about that in the future, don't do reciprocal links. Don't have somebody who's giving a link to you and you're giving a link to them. You want to have high authority businesses giving you a link. Don't be afraid to take on free gigs. I know that sounds ridiculous because you've been a pro for 30 years, but my attitude is, and I've talked about this on Magic TV a ton, so I won't talk about it now, but I have an ACE strategy. Have you ever heard me talk about ACE? ACE. So ACE, very briefly in 30 seconds, ACE stands for assets, cash, and experience. When you go and do a gig, I've got no problem doing a free gig. I'm doing a free one next week, as long as you get A, C, or E, assets, cash, or experience. Assets are something that you can use to help your business marketability. So it could be that there's a videographer there and you say, I'll do the gig for free as long as within 48 hours I get the video footage that I can use to promote my business, and you get that written up in the contract. It could be that you get a guarantee that the photographer is going to give you the photos from the event. It could be that you get an endorsement from the charity, from the event. It could be that you get a link on their website. If they've got a huge website that ranks really high and they have a page on that website saying, we'd like to thank Nemid Phoenix for coming along and giving his time for free for this charity, and they put a link through to your website, that is worth more than the price of any gig. So A is assets. That's important. I'm happy to do a free gig if I'm going to get something in return, which is going to help me market my business. C is cash. That stands for, obviously, it's self-explanatory. You get cash. E is experience. I can't think of any gig where you would need to do a gig for free to get experience. Like, you're one of the most experienced magicians I
Oh,
know.
not at this point.
Yeah. So really for you, I would not be afraid to do a free gig if you're going to get assets in return.
Mm.
If you're going to get stuff that you can put on your website that's going to help your website rank higher. That's the link building strategy. And also, and I'm going to give you a huge tip now. Getting reviews is so important because, again, it comes back to the fact that people are searching around and looking for people. If you've got a wonderful website with great social media, but you've only got one review,
Mm.
and everyone else has got 40 or 50 reviews. So you need to get as many reviews as possible. Now, if you Google, I can't remember the name of the company. I think it's called Rated or something. But if you Google review cards, they're basically little credit card type things, and you can send off to them. It costs about 15 quid. And when it comes back, it's got the official Google logo on it and everything. It's got your business name on it, but it's got an NFC chip inside it. And if people tap that NFC chip on their device, what it does is it opens the exact page that they need to be on to leave you a review on Google. So my big tip on getting reviews. Now, there's no point doing this until you've got your Google My Business listing. But when you've got your Google My Business listing, I would take the 15 quid and get yourself a Google review card. Then what I would do is I would set it up for your Google My Business account. And when you're going to gigs, or even when you're out and about, like we were doing a shoot for Jao Miranda the other day, and you were performing for people as well, and they were loving it. They were loving what you were doing. I would take that card out and just say, hey, they offered to buy you a drink. Rather than saying, buy me a drink, just go, hey, it'd be better for me if you could just scan this and just say I'm amazing. You have that card with you, it makes it very easy for the people to leave reviews. You can skyrocket your reviews by having this card with you and just presenting it whenever you're performing at a gig, when you're out socially, when you're out with friends. Let's say you're spending the weekend with Liz and you're with some of her friends and you do a magic trick, you get them to tap it. The reviews are an easy thing to sort out if you have one of those cards. There's other stuff, but I don't want to overwhelm you. So to recap, work out what your niche is. Make sure that you've got a clearly defined brand. Set up your logos and everything to fit with that brand. Set up and start posting on your social media immediately. Start learning about websites. and build that website. Get your domain name, start thinking about CRMs and start learning how to use a CRM. Set up a MailChimp account. Start writing blogs and hold them back ready for when you launch your website. The second your website launches, set up a Google My Business listing, and then make sure that you're constantly blogging, make sure you're constantly repurposing that content, have a link building strategy, have a review strategy, and then that's step one. Then we can talk about step two. But if you do all of that, if you do step one, if you get to the end of step one, I guarantee you'll have gigs coming in for you, lots of them. And I'll finish with this, unless you've got a question for me. The one thing I'll finish with is the most important thing, them, and I know you know this, but I'm going to mention it anyway, especially for some of your viewers. The most important thing is momentum. So right now, I want to imagine that your business is a massive boulder on the longest road that you've ever seen, that just goes into infinity and you can't see to the end of the road. And your goal is to push this boulder. What you're doing right now with all of your leveling up is it's the equivalent of you standing in front of that boulder and going, right, I'm going to push it. I'm going to make it move. And you're putting all of your time, you're putting all of your energy into pushing this boulder, and it ain't budging because it's bigger than you. You're going to really push as hard as you can, and eventually it's going to start moving. It's going to start moving. Then as it starts moving, momentum will kick in and it'll move faster and it'll move faster and it'll move faster and it'll start going quicker and quicker and quicker. And that's the same with your business right now. It's frustrating. The part that you're in right now is really frustrating because you're doing all of this and you're not really seeing much of an impact. You're going to be learning how to set up websites and you're not going to be getting much of an impact. You're going to be learning how to do social media and you're not going to be getting much of an impact. It's really annoying. I remember doing YouTube when I first started Magic TV, and I put my heart and soul into a video and I'd get like 7 views and I'd be like, what am I doing? You got to push past that in order to get that momentum going. And when you get that momentum going, your business will start going better and better and better and everything will click into place. But here's the important thing. When that momentum kicks in, and the momentum kicks in and you start pushing it and it goes faster and faster and faster and your business becomes more and more successful. If you stop pushing that boulder and you don't put any effort into pushing that boulder anymore, what's going to happen is that boulder is still continuing to move because that's how momentum works, right? It still continues to move and it will still continue to move for a while, but then it will slow down and it will stop. Once it stops, the only way to get that thing moving again is to put the exact same amount of effort in that you did in the first place. And it's the same with your business. A lot of people trick themselves into thinking they can take their foot off the gas. And you can relax a little bit, but if you stop completely, you'll be back at square one. I'll give you the perfect example. I remember you losing quite a lot of weight about 2.5 years ago or something like that. Do you remember?
Yeah,
You were, yeah. And you really slimmed down, and I was like,
a bit
oh my
longer
God.
than that, I think, but yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember when it was. I mean, I've known you for decades,
Mm.
but there was some point where you'd lost quite a lot of weight.
Mm.
What happened?
Good.
Exactly. No, what I mean is you
Yeah.
did that. You were like, oh, this is going brilliantly. I suppose the Jaffa cake won't be a problem. I'll treat
Hmm.
myself to Domino's. And before you know it, you're back into that cycle that's put you back into the position where you are right now. And now the only way to kickstart that in again is to do what you're doing right now.
Hmm.
It's the same with pushing a boulder. If you, when you, I know you well enough to know that you will be successful at this because when you've made your mind up about something, you're going to do it. I mean, come on, you taught yourself videography, and now look at what you're doing with that. So I know that you're going to do it, but don't fall into the trap of now I don't need to write that blog. Now I don't need to post that social media link. Now I can take a step back from tracking my inquiries. Now I don't have to do any of that because you do. And if you don't, you'll end back at square one. There's more. I could spend ages talking to you about this. We haven't even covered tracking inquiries. We haven't covered premium, and there's a lot of stuff that we haven't covered.
Hmm.
But if you want an overview of what you should be doing, if you want a blueprint of what you should be doing in marketing, that is what you should be doing. That's the exact steps. You can interview people that will tell you how exactly to create a website, how exactly to do a CRM, how exactly to write a blog. You can find people that will give you this information, or I can give you the information. But in terms of laying out what you need to do, that's it.
Excellent. I think everyone has to agree that we've got an absolute ton of useful information there. Uh, just the Google review cards alone was worth interviewing you for. And can we say that, say maybe 6 months down the line, we get you back on for an advanced version of this once I've got the website set up and everything?
Of course,
Something like
man. Absolutely, 100%.
that. Obviously, aside from my business, this channel exists as well, and I want this to succeed. So I will be, as you say, interviewing people individually about all these topics, um, including, for example, I've got someone lined up for the various types of potential website that you can build. I'm still going to put that video up so you can see every single possible option available to you. But I think slightly unusual ranking puts a pretty solid, good vote in the Wix column. Uh, just for the sake of it, I will also be interviewing people. You said for me, Facebook and Instagram, but obviously I'm not all of the people on this channel, and I want people on this channel to get value from this channel, regardless of what they're interested in. So you say corporates, it's LinkedIn. Just literally the names, just an overview. Is there anything else that I should be looking into?
Okay, so yeah, so YouTube is useful, okay, so Facebook and Instagram are the two big ones as far as I'm concerned. If you're going after weddings or the birthday party market, it's worth looking into Pinterest because a lot of people don't do anything on Pinterest, and we've had a lot of work from Pinterest, especially for NSK, but also from weddings. Pinterest is like I'm sure you know it, it's like a photo sharing thing.
Yeah.
X is good. I don't do X. I know people that do get work from X. The problem with it is, well, there's a few different problems, but the big problem is you have to post all of the time, and it's all about engagement, and I just can't be arsed with it. So
Particularly guilty of what you were saying on X. I have a post in 2016, I think, that says, "Let's see what this Twitter thing's all about," and that's the only post I ever put up there.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
the same. I don't really do anything on there at all. LinkedIn is very useful, but you have to put the time in. Look, if you want to, I can come back on at some point and talk about networking. The big way that I built my businesses in the early days was with networking, and because I didn't have much money, and so I paid to go to networking events and build relationships with people at networking events. And LinkedIn is very useful if you're taking a networking strategy because LinkedIn is very much like virtual networking. So it's an extension to the networking process, if that kind of makes sense. So it's a great way to connect with people, build up a tribe of business people that you can develop relationships with that will help you. You'll get a lot of referral based leads through LinkedIn and through any sort of virtual networking. So it's a very useful one to have, but it's mainly corporates. It's mainly sort of corporate style bookings, things like that. YouTube is good, but I've never figured out a way to make it work as a magician. I've seen so many magicians that post videos, unless you're wanting to do exposure videos and you're wanting to be like, hey, here's how to do this trick, here's how to do this trick.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
not happening.
yeah, I know. And there's people that have made, I mean, look at Dan Rhodes, for example. He's made an absolute fortune and become a millionaire from doing shorts, short form content, exposing tricks and not exposing tricks. But, and so you could argue that that's a way of doing it. But I know that anybody who does do short form content to that level, they chart, that they are doing like 20, 30, that's all they do. Um, in terms of you're never going to build a YouTube channel up that's going to be of any level of success because lay people aren't as interested in watching magic as we are. So
Mm.
if you put a channel up where it's like, hey, I'm a magician, I'm going to post videos of me doing magic. Magicians might be interested, but lay people aren't. Where lay people become interested in magic is when they're looking to book a magician. And YouTube's great for putting a show reel on that you can embed onto your website. But I don't really advocate spending too much time on it. YouTube's great if you want to reach a market of magicians, because if a layperson is really interested in magic, they probably become a magician, right? Or somebody
Mm.
who's interested in magic. So I wouldn't really spend too much time on YouTube unless you want to be a creator in this industry, or unless you want to be somebody who, is known within the magic industry for whatever reason that may be. Um, Other platform, those are really the main platforms, to be honest. But like I say, the most important thing is not to be a busy fool. Don't
Sure.
spend all of your time. Oh, and there's TikTok. I spent time on TikTok. I mean, I actually built up like 100,000 followers on TikTok over just before lockdown,
Mm.
and I never saw one gig come from it. And I actually never saw one inquiry come from it. I never saw any interest in my brand from TikTok.
Oh, Craig, you didn't do the dances, man. You didn't do the
That is
dances.
that the dances were the problem. Now I know that some people say that TikTok works for them. Um, I've never been able to make it work. I've never been able to make it work, but maybe it will. I don't know. But those are the main platforms that I'd suggest you want to spend time on.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Craig. Two final thoughts before we go. If that noise is being picked up, I do apologize. I apparently live in the past, and I've had somebody shouting any old iron out my window for the last 10 minutes. And
I didn't hear it.
we can thank Craig for helping us today, because if you're a magician, you're well aware that it's very, very hard to see Craig Petty unless you buy one of his products, buy somebody else's products, turn on YouTube, open your phone, open Facebook, or know what the internet is. So it's very nice to see you.
I
See your
like to
face very
be a bit of a recluse, Nam. I don't like to put myself out there too much.
absolutely. I know
But
you've got.
in all seriousness, that's not you need to do.
Mm,
People joke all the time, and it's like, I've got Craig Petty everywhere. I've got him on my phone. I've got. You think that's by mistake? That's by design. That's by design. When I decided I wanted to make, being a creator as part of my business model,
mm,
I realized I just took the same strategy that I did with all my other businesses and I applied it to magic. I'm like, right, okay, if I'm going to be a creator and I'm going to be successful in this industry, I am going to have to be everywhere. All I did when I started doing YouTube is I did what I've just told you to do. I looked at the magic marketplace and I was like, right, okay, where is the best platform to promote myself on? And the best platform was YouTube. I'm on Facebook a bit. I'm on Instagram a bit, but I made it mainly about YouTube. But the most important thing I did is I made sure I was everywhere, so that if you're a magician, whether you buy a trick of mine or not, you're probably talking about me. It's the same thing with setting up a business. You need to make sure that everybody knows where you are. And that's what marketing is. It's just about knowing. So if you're wanting to be a wedding magician, now, if you want to niche into wedding magic, you need to make sure that every wedding planner, you need to make sure that every bride, every groom, you need to make sure that everybody kind of has you in their mind when they think about weddings.
mhm.
Same thing, exactly the same thing. What you're talking about here with magic, I just applied what I did outside of magic to magic, and it works. It works in any industry. Any industry. It's just about being visible. It's about building up a brand around yourself, and then making sure that you're everywhere. That's what you need to do. That's what marketing is. Making sure you're everywhere.
Well, that was full of stuff. I think we'll have a lot to get from that. And I know you have got another interview to go and do now. So I'll
Yes,
let you.
and I can't wait to do this interview. It's with a man that's very unbiased. I've got to go and do that now.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm hoping that one doesn't come out on Monday, or no one's going to watch this.
It's coming out on Saturday, actually. So by the time they watch this, that interview will have already gone up.
All right. Okay, man. Cheers. I'll let you go. Yeah,
Love you, Nem.
you're all right. Welcome back. Hope you took some notes there. A lot of useful information in that. Just before I go, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be doing the first of my brand new book review section. I've reviewed one book so far, Caroline Raven's Business Side of Show Business, which I consider an excellent book that you should read. But that is basically all I said. This book, good. Probably could have gone a little bit more in depth than that. So that's what we're going to do from now on. From now on, every time I review a book, I'm going to give you 2 weeks' notice. So in 2 weeks, I'll be reviewing my first book and going in depth on it, analysing it. I'm telling you 2 weeks in advance so that you can read your copy along with me, make it like a little book review club. We can discuss it in the comments and in the Facebook group. If you join the Facebook group, Magicians Level Up, not Magician Levels Up, Magicians Level Up. That is the Facebook group where all the people that want to join with me and share their own goals and get their own bit of peer pressure from the group can come and join and hang out. So, in 2 weeks, we're going to go for a big one. I'm starting it tonight. 2 weeks we'll review it. I've picked this one because I know you all have it. Many years ago, right at the beginning of my magic career, when I was excited about all this stuff and reading absolutely everything, I read the book that everybody says is the best book you can read, Maximum Entertainment. I remember that I thought this book was genius. I remember loving every page. I don't remember a word of it now. It's been 10 years. I think it's safe to say the same for most of us. I think many of us also have this book on our shelves, Maximum Entertainment 2.0, which I bought many years later when I was not quite so voracious in my book reading. And this book has done what a lot of my magic books do and decorated my shelf. So, Maximum Entertainment 2.0. This is book 1. I'm going to read this over the next 2 weeks, take copious notes and discuss them with you, and you should get it off your shelf and do the same. That's it. That was a long one. Go, get on with your lives, get out of here. See you next week. Bye.